The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Rush Limbaugh, your commanding officer, your general in the war against collectivists and assorted parasites everywhere. See Occupy Wall Street, for example, or Occupy Oakland, or any of the Occupies. By the way, folks, I want you to hear. Here is the little exchange David Gregory had with Chris Cillizza about a half hour ago on MSNBC. This one I told you about, where they're just beside themselves that Herman Cain's triumphing over their best efforts to take him out. And it is in this soundbite that David Gregory explains what really has the media in a frenzy.
There's been a rallying around Herman Cain of that Republican conservative base in the media on talk radio. That's been an enormous boon to him. There's money coming in, the campaign says. I've talked to folks on the ground in Iowa who said enthusiasm is only growing there in that state. What's got the media in a frenzy, let's be honest about it, is that there's just a weirdness about the campaign, a sense that there's no strategy, and that's not just observation. Yep. I've talked to people internally who were complaining about the fact there's no real strategy. They knew about this. They haven't responded well to it. And Herman Cain's still driving the organization, whatever organization there is. It's contributing to all of this.
I think you get to strike at the heart of it. That's the problem. There is an organization. The pushback is so scattered and so kind of all over the place. It looks strange.
It looks so scattered, and Herman Cain's leading it. Who is this idiot? They want to know. Who is this dumb amateur idiot who's entered our business of politics? He never done anything but run a pizza place, and he's outsmarting us with no strategy? How is this possible? That's why we're in a frenzy. They admit it. Back to the phones. Cheryl, the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Great to have you on the EIB network. Hi.
Hi, Rush. It's an honor to speak with you.
Thank you very much. Great to have you with us.
Listen, I'm a black conservative, and I just want to make one thing abundantly clear. The media can attempt to paint you any way they want to, but there are no bigger racists in this country than white Democratic liberals. They are and they will forever be the biggest racists in this nation because they seek to determine how black people should think and who black people should support. And the reason for their contempt against Herman Cain is that he has simply said, I'm an independent thinker. I don't need to stay on the Democratic plantation in order to succeed.
Right. It really is, folks. It is no more complicated than that. She's exactly right. And because of that, he represents a great threat to them.
But let me give you an example of how Cain would have been treated if he had been a good and docile Negro and stayed on the Democratic plantation. Jesse Jackson presently has pending against him in Cook County Court in Illinois a sexual harassment lawsuit filed against him by one Mr. Tommy Bennett, a former male Push employee who has sued Jesse Jackson and the Push organization for sexual discrimination and Jackson specifically for sexual harassment.
Yeah.
There has not been one story about this on Politico. Not one.
Why do you think that is?
Excuse me?
Why do you think that is?
Please, Rush. As I said, Jesse Jackson has remained on the plantation.
Exactly right.
So, of course, he gets special treatment.
Yep, that's exactly right.
But I have to make one more point. The other example of how there is a distinct difference in treatment is that during the 2008 campaign, Mr. Obama was accused of a sexual and drug-related incident by a male, a Mr. Larry Sinclair. To this day,
did we lose her?
Has reported it. Now, the argument could be, well, you know, it's not substantiated. We didn't have facts. Well, there's no substantiation.
She's having a problem with herself. I remember the Larry Sinclair thing, and what I remember about it was that the media told us this guy was an absolute weird nutcase, insane lunatic, should have been in an asylum or some such thing. Remember that was how the accuser was characterized. I remember that Larry Sinclair. I'm gonna have to Google the name, or have one of my vast array of researchers Google the name. Remind me who Larry Sinclair was. But I remember that the media went and set out to destroy this guy. Darn it, we've lost her out there. She was on a cell phone calling from the Upper East Side of Manhattan. She's right. And by the way, it's the plantation she's talking about, the liberal plantation. And there are many black conservatives who, of course, abandoned the liberal black plantation, don't want any part of it. And it's not just that they're attacked because they are considered a threat. It is a form of punishment as well. They go after Herman Cain not just because he represents a threat. He shows other blacks what you can accomplish independently from the Democrat Party and the Jesse Jacksons and all of the prescriptions, liberal affirmative action and all that. But there's also a punishment. Because the message, by going after Herman Cain, the message is to other blacks, you stay right where you are or this will happen to you. You stay on this side of the aisle or we try to destroy you too. Yeah, Larry Sinclair had a shady background, convicted felon, reportedly. Crimes for forgery, bad checks, theft by check, but he did level an accusation against Obama, and it was never treated with any seriousness or sincerity. That's a good get. I had forgotten that. This is... Oh, the Politico did? Okay, here it is, June 18th, 2008. Summertime and the living is easy. My favorite version of Summertime is by Billy Stewart. Yeah, I think 1964, 1965. Mike, see if we've got that in the system. What's the name of our system? Yeah, the profits, 2 F's in there, folks. We're not talking about money here. My all-time favorite version of Summertime. Anyway, this is Obama, our Politico, reporting on that story in June of 2008. Obama accuser has long rap sheet. Larry Sinclair is wanted in Colorado, but you can catch him today at the National Press Club. Sinclair is familiar to political junkies and reporters as the source of outlandish allegations about Senator Obama, tales that began with sex and drugs and moved on to murder. The Duluth, Minnesota resident is the sort of figure who appears at the margins of every presidential campaign. And both Presidents George W. Bush, Bill Clinton had their own obscure accusers with dramatic allegations. But as the old media ignores him, Sinclair has taken full advantage of the Internet in a video in which he makes his claims that have been viewed by more than 900,000 times on YouTube. This afternoon, he's reserved the Holman Lounge, downtown Washington's National Press Club, to try to lend his story the legitimacy that comes with national media attention. Sinclair's biography, though, may get in the way of the pitch, public records, and court. See, this guy's not an Ivy Leaguer. Bernie Goldberg is right. If Larry Stewart had gone to the Ivy League, the media might have believed him. Hardy har har. Sinclair's biography, though, may get in the way of that pitch. Public records and court filings reveal he has a 27-year criminal record, especially in crimes involving deceit. So that's how they handle the Obama accuser, the Politico.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.